The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Thursday morning. Jackie, how are you feeling today? Second day of December. We're coming down to Christmas. How are you feeling?
I wore my red lipstick for Christmas. Like, go ahead and closer.
So Jackie and I were talking backstage, and she was like, "We didn't plan this," and I was like, "Jackie, what are you talking about? We absolutely did plan today's topic." So I was, preparing for today. I'm like, "What the hell is she talking about?" I didn't look up, and then I looked up. I was like, "Hey, no, we didn't." But
and when you were saying it, I was confused. I was just like, "We planned this? You told me to wear black and wear red lipstick. When did that happen? Oh, I need more sleep." And then I realized, oh, you're not even looking at me.
I was not looking at Jackie. And so good morning, Karen Simmons. Thank you for joining us. So yes, today, this is the first time Jackie and I have coordinated. So mark this date on in your calendar. As you can see, Jackie and I are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. So make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and share this episode. For those of you watching on Facebook, share the link. If you're watching on YouTube, drop the link in your favorite WhatsApp group chat. And to all of our tweets over there on Twitter, make sure you retweet it. Now, for our feel good topic of the day, we're actually going to carry our conversation that we started yesterday for our feel good warm up. We're going to be discussing national and regional pride. And if you want to test your knowledge against Jackie, stick around for our feel good vibe of the day, which is trivia time with Terry. But before we do that, we're going to start with our feel good warm up. Now, I don't know if y'all know, but apparently Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, chooses a word of the year. This is like the first time I've actually recognized or even noticed that it was a thing, because reasons. But the word of 2021 was, you guessed it, vaccine. So we wanted to know what your word theme or word of the year was. So let us know in the comments, what has been your word for 2021? It could be a theme or just a word you said a lot over the course of the year. Jackie, do you have a word?
It's more like a song.
Oh my God. I want to hear the song. I got to hear the song because the song can get me.
It's usually like, And it's crazy because I never used to do it until I hung out with one of my friends. Mm-hmm. And we both did it at the same time. And I was just like, I never noticed we did it that often. We do it a lot. Like, anytime there's a slight inconvenience, you're just like, oh my God, like, oh. So if somebody doesn't stop hugging me, I'm like, oh, like.
Let me go.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, yeah. Or actually, my other is actually the same. Is don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, like, don't do that. Don't do that. It could be for anything too. It could be like, oh my God, Jack, I'm so excited to see you, and be loud, and I'm not in the mood for a lot. I'm like, don't do that. Or they'll try to eat my food. Don't do that.
Jackie will bring you down a few levels if she is not feeling it. They don't do that. It's one of those phrases like, oh, she's serious. Okay.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing. I do it to my best friend all the time. So she mocks me now. We'll be doing something and she'll do something. I'm like, don't do that. And she'll be like, don't do that. Don't do that. And now I notice all these little things that I do. I mean, there's another word that I say, but we can't hear that one.
Okay, we'll hold on to that one for later. But I want to say good day to Anika De Shields. Thank you for joining us. And it looks like Michael Anthony Mawson shared his favorite word. His favorite word is facetious. Let me tell you something. So last night I was trying to spell this word in a text message, and I was like, I know how to spell this word. Why can't I spell it? And I had to go to Google, and then I couldn't figure out how to start it for Google to tell me the answer. And I said, forget it. I said, forget it. But I like the word facetious too. It's a funny word.
I remember learning this word. My aunt Claudia is like a walking thesaurus, and I remember being in the car, and I said my cousin, her daughter said something, and she was just like, "Don't be facetious," and I was just like, "Ooh, what is that?" I must have been like 15 or something, 16. I was like, "Ooh, what is that? I like that word." And then everybody that was acting, a little cheeky, a little facetious, I'm like, "Oh, that's what we're doing. We're being facetious today. Okay, cool."
Okay, SAT girl. That's definitely an SAT word when you're 15. Like, sis, just throw that word out and just like, I learned this word today, and every single one of you, when I know this word, I'm gonna say it. Like, that's how that felt. Like, everyone's trying to look at you like,
yeah,
it ain't that.
I know. And you know how you learn a new word and you're just annoying and obnoxious with it?
Yeah. That's exactly what that scenario sounded like to me. And so good morning to you, Kathy Rogers. Thank you for joining us. Let us know in the comments what your word of 2021 was. If you didn't know, Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, has said that vaccine was the word of 2021, which is not surprising because I'm pretty sure if you look anywhere online or even in a conversation, the word vaccine has come up in some way, shape, or form. And the article we'll share with you online if you want to see how they came up with the criteria for determining the word. But I'm pretty sure they probably just arbitrarily said that's going to be the word. I wonder what it was last year, because honestly, this is the first time.
COVID.
I was going to say it was probably coronavirus. So it looks like Kathy Rogers says seriously was her word. So she would say that often this year. I honestly feel like I feel like that's a word you would say often.
Yes. Yeah,
that's definitely a Jacky word.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, that's word. Seriously?
Yep.
Okay. Was serious about this? Okay.
I absolutely could see you saying that, kind of similar to how you said it. I'm like, that sounds like a thing that Jacky would say. Honestly, I'm trying to think. My word is always indeed. Or what else do I say often? I don't know.
Probably
no, I have an emoji. So I'm an emoji person. I talk with emojis. And so if I don't talk with an emoji in a conversation, I'm probably upset or I don't feel like it. I like the upside down emoji face. Like, I killed that emoji.
Mine's the
I love that emoji.
That one where it's like the exhaustion is just like,
that is my favorite emoji now.
That's me. I use it for everything. As soon as it popped up, and I was just like, anything. I'm like, oh, this is too much. I'm overwhelmed. I'm like,
that emoji has
awkward moments.
Next year they should do that. Like next year they should do. I don't know if they have. So if they do already do this, Jacky and I late to the party. They should do an emoji of the year, like what emoji gets used the most, because it would be really interesting to see not only from, personal perspective, but just like culturally, because I do feel like there are some emojis that people tend to use more based on their culture versus like,
I legit get upset when my emojis get messed up. Like if a birthday happens, I always go crazy with everything. And then now I have to reorganize all my stuff. So now I have to use them unnecessarily to get them back in my faves.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, I'm gonna regret saying happy birthday to you.
But she enjoyed it in the moment. She was just tapping all of the birthday music. Yes, this one too. Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Eat that, drink this, eat that.
That one.
Go here, get on a plane, go on a poo, take a walk.
Do all the things. So it looks like Anika the Shields was saying the word mask constantly this year. I feel like that's definitely a word that was repeated over and over because, sometimes you forget your mask, transitioning back to a sense of normalcy. I like to keep my mask on my wrist. That way, even if I forget it, it didn't forget me.
The other day, I was halfway down the road for dinner and we were carpooling and we were singing. I was just like, and everybody's just like, what you forget? And I was just like, my mask. And then she's like, I have new ones. I have them in the car. And I'm like, thank goodness.
That is perfect. I had a moment like that too, where I was like, I forgot my mask. Like, do you have any in your car? Because I'm thinking normally, like, because of now, like, there will be an actual one in the car. There was an actual one in the car, so we have to go back to my house, but it's fine. So coming back to the emoji conversation. So Michael Anthony Watson said the looking eyes was his emoji. That's actually I like that emoji. I don't use it as often. But
that's how I usually start conversations with people I haven't spoken to in a while. I'll be like, That's exactly what it looks like. That's how I'm doing it. Like, are you there? Are you alive? We haven't talked in a while. Let's have a conversation. How's life? Good?
Not God, like, that's Jacky's hey. Like, so if I get an emoji, if I get the looking eyes from Jacky first, I'm gonna like, Jack, we just talked yesterday. Why are you doing this to me? We just talked. But
I know.
she's probably gonna be like,
or it's like,
Terri,
what
for 2
you
hours.
doing? You want to go on an adventure with me? Cake coming.
That is the best. And so Nikita Shale says I don't know what the first one is, like how you define it, but we're gonna say shocked and surprised or mind blown.
Yes.
Are her 2 favorite emojis of the year. She says they say so much. Honestly, the mind blown emoji is definitely an emoji that I rate because there are some times when I'm like, no, legit, I'm mind blown. Like I legit love that one. And speaking of Anika's word of the year, she said wear it properly was another phrase that she used this year. Honestly, that emoji that she put up is actually an emoji I like to use as well.
I do too.
It's definitely one of my favorites. Jacky and I are going to take our first commercial break of this episode, and then we'll be back to talk about our feel-good topic of the day. We're actually going to be discussing national and regional pride, so you do not want to go anywhere. Jacky and I will be right back.
Looking for that fine dining experience? Then Aliana's is the place for you. And it's lobster season in Bermuda. So ladies, get your girls together for a ladies' night out. Book a table of 4 and each of you will get a 10% discount on your half or whole lobster main course. Starters not included. This lobster special is on until Saturday, December 18th. Serving dinner from 6 p.m. Thursday through Sundays. And of course, we have all your favorites, complemented with our specialty drinks and wine list, followed by our scrumptious homemade desserts. Aliana's Fine Dining Restaurant, 106 Southside St. David's. Phone 777-0555 for reservations. For their special occasions, there's Aliana's.
Welcome back to this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jacky Lemmer. And if you're just joining us, we're transitioning to our feel-good topic of the day. We are going to be discussing national and regional pride. And so if you missed yesterday's episode, we kind of touched on this topic a little bit when we talked about Rihanna being honored as the national hero of the newly fully sovereign nation that is Barbados. And so we did ask a question of the audience, but I don't think we got a chance to like really dive deeper into it. So I wanted to kind of bring it back today. But before we do talk about that, I want to ask, do you think Bermudians have national pride? Because in Rihanna's acceptance speech that Jacky so graciously shared with me, because I didn't even know she had an acceptance speech, she had mentioned how Bajans are like a really proud people no matter where in the world they go. And so I just wanted to ask the audience, do we think we share a similar national pride? So let us know in the comments. And Jack, what are your thoughts? Because you have had to represent Bermuda overseas. And do you feel, because of your experience, you have a certain national pride? Or do you think you always had a national pride for Bermuda?
I feel like I've always had a national pride for Bermuda. Like I've always loved our accents, stuff like that. So I, when representing Bermuda or traveling for Bermuda, I usually like to travel with little tokens. So we get the Bermuda BTA, Bermuda Tourism Authority has the jelly wristbands.
Yes, I like this.
That say Bermuda. So I used to try and get those when I travel, and then the little Bermuda pins. But you know how even Cut Match, when they hand out the other pins, I used to get like extras. So when I traveled, I could like give them to people. They're like, "Oh, where are you from, Bermuda?" And I'm like, "Here's a little trinket, something that makes them remember." And then they're like, "I want to go on vacation. Where should we go?" Like, here.
Pin. Pin here. Like literally we sent you a pin, we dropped the pin on you.
A location, yeah. And then I remember it was my second time, I think, representing Bermuda, and we were in El Salvador, and we were competing against, I think it was actually, no, it wasn't El Salvador. Maybe it was El Salvador. I just know that it was a big fight, like not like a fist fight, but it was against one of the bigger countries that travel with all their people. So it could have been Puerto Rico. When you get down there, it's easy for them to hop over. So a lot of the parents come as well. So I remember trying to make as much noise as possible just to make our teammates feel like everybody was for them. So I remember running up and down the bleachers, making noise. Let's go Bermuda! Come on, Bermuda! And wherever I go, people are like, "Where are you from?" Bermuda, the triangle. And I'm just like, you should absolutely come, because like you would learn so much more. And I try not to change my accent at all. If anything, I tried to make it harder for you to understand because then it kind of like piques your interest more.
Yeah.
So like, oh my god, what are you saying? Talk more. I love it. And now they're almost in a trance and they want to come in like a little siren.
If you're just joining us, Jacky is sharing whether she believes that she has national pride for our country. And so if you're just joining us, go ahead and drop your thoughts on that question in the comments. Anika De Shield says, I don't think the majority of Bermudians have national pride. We definitely should. My Haitian friends from university love my Bermudian accent and love coming to visit. I can say that's definitely one of the ways that we get people here, right? It's the accent, because it's not a common Caribbean accent. When they, because some Caribbean accents, you can kind of like tell off rip where someone's from.
Yeah.
And then you hear the Bermudian accent and it's like they want to say you're Caribbean, but they ain't sure because they never heard it before. And so then the action, then obviously, like Jacky said, that sparks a conversation. One of the things I can say, it's very frustrating when they used to think that I was Bajan. Not that I had anything against Barbados, but because Rihanna was so popular and that was like, to them, the one Caribbean girl that they could kind of associate with all Caribbean women. When I was in America, they would always say, oh yeah, you're from Barbados. And I'm like, where Rihanna's from, right? You look like Rihanna. That's not where I'm from. What we can not do.
I can't wait. Oh my gosh. So I'm in New York and I'm at this restaurant and the girl's talking to me and she's just like, oh, I love your accent. I'm like, thanks. And she's like, where are you from? I'm like, Bermuda. And she's like, oh my God. So are you happy to like be, I can't remember what she said, but it was weird. And then she came back and she was just like, basically she got the islands wrong. And I looked at my friend Jess and I was just like, I don't think she realizes that I said Bermuda. And she's just like, nope, because I'm pretty sure she just said Bahamas. She asked how the food was. I remember she asked how the food was. I was like, great. She was just like, must be good to have different food from being, because we're talking about how it was my first time traveling in like 2 years since, you know, the pandemic happened. And I'm excited to try different foods and get out and be, you know, different experiences. And she's just like, it must be a nice change from the food in Bahamas. And I was just like,
that's Bermuda, not what I said.
Bahamas.
Come on, pretty mama.
Hey, look how the tides have changed.
You're rubbing off of me. You're rubbing off of me.
But yeah, it was. And then the second time she came back and she was just like, so when are you going back to Barbados? I'm like, oh, you're doing this for jokes now. No, it has to be for kicks.
You're trailing. You're trailing.
How I've got 2 different islands. And I was like, no, Bermuda, like Bermuda. I actually said, I'm like the Bermuda Triangle. And she's like, oh, is it real?
So I want to come to some audience comments. So Michael Anthony Mustin says, I think you see Bermuda's pride when someone has done something to, and someone has done or something to or said something bad about Bermuda. Yes, absolutely. Yes. One thing about Bermuda Twitter, do not come for us if we didn't send for you. Do not say anything about Bermuda. Like, honestly, anything. I've seen positive stuff about Bermuda go viral because people think someone's saying something to the left. And then I've seen things that actually went to the left get reprimanded and dealt with. The ramifications were definitely necessary. But Bermuda Twitter, as long as all you need to see is like 2 people in your Bermuda feed to retweet something with a comment or say something, and everyone just charges, like just goes.
Yes, because I remember one tweet where it was not even that bad. The person was just like, I've never actually seen anybody from Bermuda, like other actually Bermuda, like people in Bermuda, and people started to go. I'm like, that wasn't rude. That was literally somebody saying that I've never seen or met a Bermudian. Like, calm down.
I think it was interesting because I don't know, he was from Bermuda, or his parents, like he has relatives or relations to Bermuda, but he had never been here apparently. And so he'd never met Bermudians in where he is staying. So I was like, that's a legitimate situation. Like, it's not bad or good, it's just a situation. And guys went, I was like, oh,
and also wrong when Flora Duffy had won her
deal. So everyone was just
like, you never heard of Flora Duffy, and not everybody watches.
Like, no.
Like, that's probably not even close to a sport he watches.
Listen, okay, shout out to Flora for that, but honestly, triathlon, that was not an event that I was like gung-ho on seeing. Like, there are some events that are just not my event, but obviously when there's a Bermudian in there, you're gonna support. So to his defense, like, unless he had someone that he cared about to watch, was he gonna watch the triathlon meet? I don't think so. Like, unless he's just a super track fan. And
like, I don't really watch Formula One. I do, but I don't. But if a Bermudian was in it, I'll be all in it.
Jacky had them eyes.
Oh, in it. I would probably fly down there.
She just might.
If I could fly to support all Bermudians, I absolutely would. As long as I could air horn, flag, kid it out. Yeah.
So Anika Deshia goes on to say that said they think all B islands are the same. Honestly, for them, I don't give them an excuse, but I do. They're trying to make an association, and because the other B countries are more popular, it's like I mean,
some of them don't even know all these states, and they live in these states. So, like, the bar is kind of low sometimes.
Exactly. Like, I get it. If they can only associate to one, they're gonna do that. And I do think, though, when you're in, especially in that particular field, hospitality, if you're trying to, like, be friendly and get to know someone, you should be paying attention to what they're saying, because that could impact the tip, their experience, whether they come back. So it's kind of like, I think for us, we take it lightly because we're so used to it, but it still is kind of like, all right, but you're not really doing your job well, because I told you where I'm from, and you've now come from two different countries.
It's kind of like saying, hi, my name is Samara, and they say, okay, nice to meet you, I'm Sabrina.
Like,
you didn't even try to connect with me. You didn't even try. Do you even care?
Do you even like me?
You ain't getting my money.
That is exactly how it feels. So coming back to the comments, Jason Charlie says, Bermudians only pipe up when you hear someone has done something. For example, Flora. I've known her for decades, but people only acknowledge once she started winning and put the island on the map. Sean Goda at Man City. I definitely think that is absolutely true. And that's kind of why we want to talk about it too, right? Because I feel like in sports, it's real easy for us to like rally behind the country that is Bermuda, but like outside of sports, are we like really proud to be Bermudian? Outside of the song, it's kind of like I wondered if we actually feel like we have national pride, like how we see other countries, like where their flags are like, you can go to a Jamaican's house, no matter where anywhere they are, they had that flag up. Multiple places too. They got it all over the place. Like, the Jamaican.
They wear it. They have the headbands, the wristbands. They have everything. Like, I've traveled with them, and I'm just like, wow, we need to do better. Like, I don't have my flag on my kit. Like, what? And I'll complain. I'll be like, how come they have their whole kit screams Jamaica? How come mine is all white with a little flag? I want the flag to be my kit. I want that.
Dress me in my flag.
Like, I guess it's better sponsorship. I'm not too sure, but we're gonna figure it out. Coming back to what Jason said, I feel like that's actually true. I don't know if it's like a crabs in a barrel type of scenario where we don't want to support you until you can help us get to the level that you're at, because a lot of people didn't support Collie Buddz until he made it, and then now everybody's just like, oh, he's from Bermuda, that's Colin, this, that, and the other, and now all of a sudden you found out that people actually grew up with him. But where were you when he was actually trying to make it? Why weren't you helping push his music? There's a lot of people on the island that are trying, and we're not supportive of them like we should until they've made it. And they're like, yeah, I grew up with her or him, and like, no, help us now, push us out there now. Yeah,
it always feels like it's reactive, like until like you have to prove that you're able to make it before we'll get behind you. It's just like, no, that's literally how people get to make it. It's like people support them from the beginning, and then they follow their journey, and then when they blow up, it's like this big massive, it's a shared successful experience. Like, yeah, they made it because they put in the work, but then you were part of their story, and it's like, oh my god, we have so and so that's done whatever they've done. So I want to come to this comment from Jamal before we go back to Michael Anthony's comments. So Jamal says the problem is Bermuda doesn't have a flag and anthem, none of that. He meant anthem. I saw it come up afterwards. Can't compare a colonial flag to real flags. And he says nobody knew Collie Buddz before he made it, at least not from my neighborhood.
See, I that's crazy. That I don't know if I feel like Bermuda could actually do a whole, like, you ever heard seen Horton Hears a Who? How Whoville, everybody band together to make noise so that everybody knew that they existed. Why can't 60,000 people band together and make noise so that everybody can make it. And like we have so much talent in Bermuda, but it's stifled because we don't want the next person to win before us or without us. And it's just like, but we can all win. Like, create a ladder, climb and pass and pass.
Yep. Actually,
I know that I'm prideful there.
You are absolutely prideful. I had a conversation over the weekend where we had talked about, like, Bermudians specifically wanting to be the first to do whatever it is, whatever their, like, industry is or what they're interested in. And it was interesting because I was like, well, that's going to keep us all at the same starting line. Like, we're all going to be necessarily not able to make it, excuse me, because if we're all trying to be first, that means we're technically competing against each other. And if we all collaborated or supported each other, then we would get, I think it's a quote, you go faster, air quotes, if you do it by yourself, you go further and you do it together. And I'm like, that's probably why we're not in the independent conversation, because we're all trying to, like, do something individually. Like, if we would have just, and get there fast, if we would have just all, like, stuck to the wicket and just done it, we would probably be independent right now. We might be getting ready to celebrate our sovereignty, but we need any conversation.
Yeah, Bermuda's very green, and not money, but green with envy of the next person, not realizing that person has put in just as much, if not more, work than you, and you guys should just partner up and move forward. I don't know. I don't understand. I understand it, but I don't understand it. Like, I get it. You don't want the next person to win, but at the same time, you're a team. Bermudians are a team, and we want what's best for Bermuda. We want to put Bermuda on a map. We want to get our talents out there. And at some point, you need to put that childish, petty envy to the side and realize what the greater picture is and actually start putting the pieces together.
And, like, that actually aligns with what Anika DeShiel says. She says lack of pride and unnecessary jealousy. And it's like you mentioned, like, that it's unnecessary. Like,
we can all make it.
We all win. Like, literally, when one of us wins, we all win. And it's kind of like, because we see someone else winning and, like you said, feel envious of that, it kind of just keeps us, actually takes us steps back versus moving us forward, because we're just now saying, okay, and it's a different kind of pride too, right? Because that is technically considered to be prideful, when you're, like, so prideful about your own success and that's all you care about. And it's like, bruh, if you would just share the wealth, we could all be there. We could absolutely all be there.
I feel like it kind of falls into, like, the selfish category.
It does, like
limited, short-sighted.
Very much so. And so we want to ask this question because we started to ask the question yesterday during our warm-up, but we didn't get a chance to, like, really dive deep into it. So we wanted to know when Bermuda becomes independent, because I keep saying when, not if, because it's going to happen. It just might not happen in my lifetime. But when Bermuda becomes independent, I believe we're probably going to have a similar situation as Barbados, where there's going to be a national hero of the day. Because I think it's interesting for Rihanna to be celebrated while she's alive, whereas most of our national heroes have passed away. I think the only living one that I remember is Sir John Swan, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. So, question. Who are some new national heroes you think we should look to celebrate? Now, Jacky and I shared some people yesterday that we believed that we would want to celebrate, but we wanted to hear from the audience. Who are some people that you would like to celebrate? Jack, do you want to, like, remind those that didn't get a chance to watch yesterday?
Yes. So I said Flora Duffy and Shiana Tarini. Those are my two. Obviously, I have a few people, but
got options.
I like what they're doing right now today. There are some people of the past, but right now today, off the top of my head, I chose those two because they're not trying to just do it for themselves. They've pushed to get themselves successful, and now they're looking back and saying, all right, who's next? All right, oh, you know what? Let's just do Bermuda as a whole and put everybody on the map and figure out how we can bring people as I move. But at the hill, they're trying to get everybody. It's like casting a net to try and catch the fries. Yeah, cast the net, grab it up, and see who you can actually hold all the way in and go from there. And I love that. Love it.
Which is kind of what I think, and I don't know, like, the Bayesian criteria for selecting Rihanna as their national hero, but it's kind of obvious that she's doing a lot, not only for her country, but anywhere she is, like, everywhere she is doing this, like, reach back situation, which I think is really important, like you mentioned, for the Philadelphias of the world and the Jacky and Terrinis, because like we just talked about, even around the Hollywood situation, it's like if everyone only wanted to just wait for him to be successful after the fact and then jump on the bandwagon, it only means that then I could see why would I want to help Bermuda? Like, why, if I had to do this by myself and no one wanted to support me, then why should I help Bermuda?
Because he took a lot of flack based off of his accent, and I know we were talking, well, Rusty G and Fireman were on the Daily Hour talking about why they use the accents, the history behind it, because, you know, it's Jamaican, it's the artist and stuff like that. So that's the culture behind that music. But he took a lot of flack with people just like, oh, his fake, his this, his that. And he took a lot of flack. And so he went far predominantly by himself at one point because Bermudians weren't there. Bermudians only started to like push behind him, ran, typical. Other people started to pick on him. Like, right. His my sibling. Only I get to say that, but you're not helping push either. Like, so it was just pull, and then now it's a kickback. But
it was a very interesting time when he first became popular, and to just see the dynamics then, especially if you saw what happened then, and now you see how people are defending him, air quotes around that, because it's like, but y'all were the same people that was like calling him Jamaican and saying that he should use his Bermudian accent and et cetera, et cetera. And that's not to say either opinion is right or wrong. It was definitely just like, but it's very hypocritical of you to just now, but it's not hypocritical. Maybe you changed your mind. Maybe you realized that we should have been supporting him from jump so that we could have more people in the music industry doing what they love to do. But here we are. We're going to make a change. And that's all we can say on that. I want to come back to our suggestions around Flora and Shiana. Anika the Shield says she agrees with both. Definitely keep Bermuda in the forefront on their global status. Like, one thing, Shiana will talk about Bermuda every single time she gets a chance. Like, literally every single time she can, she will. I think she went to South Africa recently, and she was saying how the towns and the neighborhoods that she had visited looked just like St. George's, like as far as the structure, the colors, and all of that. And I was like, yo, I honestly thought that was like an old picture of Shiana when she posted it, because it was just like, that looks like Bermuda. But I also think she does a really great job of, like, you know, when she's out around the world saying how this looks like my home. So if you want to actually see this, go to my home, which I think is a dope experience. It was something dope to do for sure. I see we have a comment from Jamal Hartman. And you want to go ahead and read it, Jack?
He also took a lot of flack because folks felt that it was a cultural appropriation. Add to that, he made it big singing a song about smoking weed, which blacks have been jailed for over the years. Yes.
He being Collie Buds, in case you're just joining us.
Sorry.
We were talking about Collie Buds earlier. And I mean, that opens up a whole new conversation, right? Not even talking about national heroes, which is what we wanted to get from the audience. So let us know who are some national heroes you want us to celebrate when we become independent.
Yeah, I didn't put him on my list of people to.
Nothing against Collie, but me personally, I wouldn't put him up as a national hero, off of the fact that there, obviously, even now, there's national heroes that have certain criteria, and I think one of the things that he hasn't had an opportunity to do, and I'm not going to say it's not something he doesn't want to do, but he hasn't had an opportunity to, like, in my opinion, like, share his why. Like, I don't really know Collie's why as to support Bermuda or not support Bermuda, like in the context of like how Shiana and Flora have done it. Like, and it just because I don't follow him like that, but I've never really heard him speak on his, like, you know, why story. And it's kind of obvious with a Flora and a Shiana what their why is. And it's probably maybe because I connect with them more. That's not to say that he doesn't connect with people. He just doesn't connect with me. So that would be just my 2 cents on that particular conversation. And I want to come back to Michael Anthony Musson. He says, I think that was the problem with Collie. People felt like he didn't rap Bermuda hard enough. That's interesting. Because that is kind of, I guess. What about you, Jack? Because I mean, we talked about it earlier. Like, you felt that we weren't really supporting him in the beginning. So now it's like, now we're supporting him or now we're defending him. Do you feel like he didn't rap Bermuda hard enough?
I feel like Bermudians, sorry. I'm thinking about my experience because, like, me as an athlete representing Bermuda, Bermudians didn't support my team. They didn't support and push Flora Duffy Hart, but we still carried that pride with us. It was more so about me and my country and my island and my soil and my roots. And even if the whole of Bermuda didn't support me, I know that my family and my friends supported me, which are Bermudian, that's the connection, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So even when I traveled, if I won a tournament, they'll be like, my speech wasn't recorded. They'll be like, oh, congratulations. I'll be like, thanks, Bermuda all the way. Yes, BDA, Burmy. And like, that's how I used to walk around. People used to be like, oh, where you from? Bermuda? Why? Say something rude. I dare you. But I wasn't on that big scale, but had I been, what? It would have been so different.
They had a name you were used from, that's for sure.
What? But, funding.
It always comes down to the resources. Resources are always limited, and we're not always limited. Resources definitely play a part in it. But even to your point, just knowing that you had support was what pushed you further. So even if just imagine if you have more support, how easy it would be, easy air quotes, how easy it would be for people to fund that, because it's like, okay, well, if there is a market, because it's all about the dollars and cents. If there's a market that is interested in buying the merchandise, being out at the games, whatever the case may be, then people will get behind it. So I can kind of see where it's like it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like darned if you do, darned if you don't. And
which is why I look at people like Kamiko Smith that is still out there pushing it, still trying to get it made, and we now know that he needs funding, and yet still I don't hear anything about him getting funding. But when he makes it and he's doing well, everybody's gonna want to be his best friend and tag along and be his caddy. Like, no, be my caddy when I'm struggling. Be my caddy now. Help me now. and then when we do make it, I know that it's genuine versus me questioning your loyalty and your pride.
And you see it in a lot of the big rap groups, right? They'll kind of talk about their story, how they were in the trenches together, and then when they make it, they take care of that person that was their assistant, carrying the coffee, carrying the speakers, whatever the case may be, because they honor the fact that you were a part of the journey and you deserve. If I could have compensated you then, I would have, but now that I can, I'm gonna make up for that. So I definitely agree with that sentiment. And so I wanted to just answer Anika Deshu's question. She says, is there a criteria for national hero? Yes, there is, I would assume every country. Bermuda's Department of Community and Cultural Affairs has on their website the criteria for the current set of national heroes. And so I would reckon when we do become sovereign, it should be a whole new set, because I feel like that's a different Bermuda that we're going to try to celebrate. And to wrap up this conversation, Karen Simmons says that's why she finds it hard to support Curly Buds, the music of smoking and glorifying smoking weed as the norm, not necessary jealousy. So if you're just joining us, we did talk today. Oh, you want to comment?
Yeah. Okay, because I know it wasn't anything that affected us, because women, we don't typically have to deal with regiment and being, what's the term?
Conscripted?
Yes, but those guys that fought conscription, so Larry Marshall Sr., Jamal Hartman, all those guys, that's a huge thing that they did. So me personally, I would also add them. We tend to forget that those that fought, especially when it doesn't affect us as a female.
Yeah.
Like I said, it didn't affect me, but I do have brothers, fathers, cousins, uncles that all had to deal with everything that went on up there.
Right.
I know some people, it's not a pretty picture to them. So for it to be changed, for them to volunteer if they want to, I like that they did that. Yeah, huge.
Absolutely. I highly agree with this recommendations. And as we wrap up, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our Feel Good Vibe of the day, which is trivia time with Terri. But I just wanted to bring in this comment by Janae. She says, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot, they all want me, by my dress. That is a classic line. That is absolutely how it feels probably for a lot of our Bermudian success stories. But on that note, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
welcome back to this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us, we're getting ready for our Feel Good Vibe of today. All you have to do is guess before Jackie. Test your knowledge against her. If you guess right before Jackie, go ahead and send us an email over here at engage@gooddaybermuda. Jackie, I have 3 options for you today: movies, TV shows, or Guess Who. You can pick which one you want to go first with.
Movies.
Okay, the movie. 2 waitresses fly to Los Angeles for a music video audition in order to raise money to start a business that combines soul food dining with a hair salon.
Hair show? No, it's not hair show. Yes. No.
Hair show? Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see if the audience gives us a guess.
Say it
before I
again?
tell the answer. Okay, so I'll say it one more time. It's a movie.
Okay.
2 waitresses fly to Los Angeles for a music video audition in order to raise money to start a business that combines soul food dining with a hair salon.
Yeah.
And the hint is Halle Berry was in the movie.
Oh my god! I know this movie. Oh my god! What is the name?
Shikarana got it. It's
Oh
Babs.
I know because I know that.
Yeah, your sister got it too. It was Babs. So
thanks, T.
Everyone got it. Jamal got it too. So Shika and Tara, make sure you email us. Question number 2, TV show. In the transformation chamber, Stefan was created and Laura couldn't resist him on this show.
Family Matters.
Yes. Okay, girl, you got that one. You made up for that first one. Let's see if you can take the title. So it's a Guess Who. Now, it's a curse word, but I'm not going to say the curse word in it. This person said, skinny bees are evil.
Oh, Monique.
Yes, you beat the audience. Okay. 2 out of 3. You did good today.
Yes, I love Monique. Yes.
Absolutely. As always, thank you all for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda. We hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you come back tomorrow for another Feel Good conversation. We're going to wrap up the week with some men of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So make sure you join us tomorrow for that conversation. Until then, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.